Blackwood Manor stood on a windswept moor, its silhouette stark against the stormy sky. The manor was a relic of forgotten grandeur. Its crumbling facade hinted at a dark history. Locals whispered of a curse, a tragedy that had befallen the Blackwood family generations ago. It was a tale of betrayal, madness, and untimely death. They said the manor was haunted, a place where the living were unwelcome.
Charlotte Parker, a young journalist, was drawn to the unexplained. She scoffed at superstition, believing logic could unravel any mystery. When she heard the stories of Blackwood Manor, she was intrigued. She saw an opportunity, a chance to debunk a legend and make her name. Armed with her notebook and camera, she set off to the manor, determined to uncover the truth behind the Blackwood curse.
As Charlotte approached the manor, a shiver ran down her spine. The wind howled through the crumbling stone. It whispered secrets she couldn't understand. The iron gates creaked open as if beckoning her inside. The manor loomed large, its windows like vacant eyes. Stepping inside, she was met with an oppressive silence. The air was thick with the smell of decay. It was as if time itself had stopped within these walls. The interior of the manor was a labyrinth of darkened hallways. Dust-covered furniture stood like ghostly sentinels. Charlotte explored each room, her footsteps echoing in the silence. She felt an unnerving presence, as if she were being watched. The shadows seemed to dance around her.
Whispers brushed against her ears, too faint to decipher.
Each step deeper into the manor filled her with a growing unease. In a dusty attic room, Charlotte made a chilling discovery. A child's doll lay discarded on a rocking chair. Its porcelain face was eerily lifelike. Its eyes seemed to follow her every move.
I tried to shake off the feeling of unease. It's just my imagination, I told myself.
But as she turned to leave, she heard a soft thud. The rocking chair swayed gently as if an invisible hand had just pushed it. Night fell, shrouding the manor in an impenetrable darkness. The ancient structure stood like a silent sentinel, its windows like hollow eyes staring into the void. The wind howled through the trees, adding to the eerie atmosphere that surrounded the old mansion. It was a night that seemed to promise the unexpected, a night where the veil between the living and the dead felt particularly thin. Charlotte sat in the living room, a single candle flickering nearby. The dim light cast long, dancing shadows on the walls, creating an almost hypnotic effect. She was deeply engrossed in her research, her eyes scanning the old, yellowed pages of a journal she had found in the manor's library. The journal belonged to a previous resident, someone who had also been intrigued by the manor's dark history. Charlotte's curiosity was piqued, and she felt a strange connection to the writer, as if their fates were somehow intertwined. As she reviewed her notes, a cold spot settled over the room. It was as if an invisible presence had entered, bringing with it a chill that penetrated to the bone. Charlotte shivered, pulling her shawl tighter around her shoulders. The temperature drop was sudden and unnatural, a clear sign that she was not alone. She glanced around the room, her eyes searching the shadows for any sign of movement. A floorboard creaked above her. The sound was unmistakable, a slow, deliberate creak that seemed to echo through the silence. Charlotte's heart skipped a beat. She knew the manor was old and prone to such noises, but this felt different. It was as if someone or something was moving around upstairs. She held her breath, straining to hear any further sounds.
What was that? She whispered to herself, her voice barely audible. The question hung in the air unanswered as the silence returned.
Then she saw it, a fleeting figure at the edge of the candlelight. It was just a glimpse, a shadowy form that seemed to flicker in and out of existence. Charlotte's eyes widened in shock. She had read about such apparitions, but seeing one with her own eyes was a different experience altogether. The figure moved gracefully, almost floating, and Charlotte felt a mix of fear and fascination. A woman in a white gown, her face obscured by shadow. The gown was old-fashioned, reminiscent of a bygone era, and it flowed around her like mist. Charlotte could see the outline of her face, but the details were hidden in darkness. The woman's presence was both ethereal and unsettling, a ghostly reminder of the manor's tragic past. Charlotte froze, her heart pounding in her chest. She felt a surge of adrenaline, her fight or flight response kicking in, but she couldn't move, couldn't tear her eyes away from the apparition. It was as if she was rooted to the spot, held captive by the ghostly figure's gaze. Her mind raced with questions. Who was this woman? Why was she here? What did she want? The apparition vanished as quickly as it had appeared. One moment it was there, and the next it was gone, leaving Charlotte in stunned silence. She blinked, trying to process what she had just witnessed. The room felt empty now, the cold spot dissipating as if it had never been. But the memory of the encounter lingered, etched into her mind.
"Leave this place." The whisper was faint, almost a sigh, but it sent a shiver down Charlotte's spine. It was a warning, a plea, or perhaps a threat. She couldn't be sure, but the message was clear. The manor held secrets, and not all of them wanted to be uncovered.
The encounter left Charlotte shaken, but more determined than ever to uncover the manor's secrets. She knew she was on the brink of a discovery, something that could explain the strange occurrences and restless spirits. With renewed resolve, she picked up the journal and continued reading, ready to face whatever the night had in store. The manor's history was dark and twisted, but Charlotte was determined to bring the truth to light, no matter the cost. Section 7. Trapped in the darkness. Panicked, Charlotte decided to leave the manor. Her heart pounded in her chest as she darted through the dimly lit hallway, the shadows seeming to reach out and grab at her. She could feel the cold, oppressive air pressing down on her, making it hard to breathe. Every creak of the floorboards beneath her feet sent a shiver down her spine, but she knew she had to keep moving. But as she made her way downstairs, she found the front door bolted shut. The heavy metal handle was cold to the touch, and no matter how hard she pulled, it wouldn't give way. The realization hit her like a ton of bricks. She was trapped inside this nightmarish place. She rattled the handle, but it wouldn't budge. She was trapped. Desperation clawed at her insides as she pounded on the door, hoping against hope that someone, anyone, would hear her cries for help. But the only response was the echo of her own voice, bouncing back at her from the cold, unfeeling walls. She ran from room to room, each one as desolate and unforgiving as the last. The once grand manor now felt like a labyrinth of despair, each turn leading her deeper into the darkness. The rooms were filled with old, decaying furniture, and the air was thick with the scent of mildew and rot. It was as if the house itself was alive, feeding off her fear and growing stronger with each passing moment. The whispers grew louder, taunting her, urging her toward an unknown fate. They seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once, filling her mind with a cacophony of voices that she couldn't escape. "You can't escape," they seemed to say. "Join us, join us." The words sent chills down her spine, and she clamped her hands over her ears, trying to block them out, but it was no use.
Whispering, "You can't escape. Join us." The voices were relentless, growing louder and more insistent with each passing second. They seemed to be coming from the very walls themselves, as if the house was alive and speaking to her. She could feel their cold breath on the back of her neck, and she knew that she was not alone.
She was alone in the darkness. The realization hit her like a physical blow, and she sank to her knees, her body trembling with fear. The whispers continued to swirl around her, and she knew that she was trapped in this nightmare with no way out. The darkness seemed to close in on her, suffocating her, and she could feel her sanity slipping away. She was truly, utterly alone. Section 8. The Search for Charlotte. Days turned into weeks, and Charlotte Parker vanished without a trace. The authorities searched Blackwood Manor. They found no sign of the missing journalist. Her notebook and camera lay abandoned in the living room. The last entry in her notebook was a chilling account of her final moments. It spoke of ghostly apparitions and a nameless dread. The case remained unsolved, adding another layer to the manor's sinister legend. Section 9. The manor's grip. The locals whispered that the manor had claimed another victim. They said Charlotte had become part of the Blackwood curse. Some claimed to see her ghostly figure wandering the manor's halls, her anguished cries echoing in the dead of night. Blackwood Manor stood silent against the unforgiving moor, a testament to the darkness that lay within its walls. Section 10. Forever Lost. In the heart of the old library, hidden among countless forgotten tomes, lay a book that whispered secrets of a time long past. Its pages, yellowed with age, held stories that were never meant to be told, stories that had been lost to the sands of time. The manor remained abandoned, a chilling reminder of the secrets it held and the souls it had claimed. Once a grand estate, it now stood in ruin, its walls echoing with the memories of those who had walked its halls. The overgrown vegetation seemed to guard the manor, as if nature itself sought to keep its secrets hidden. Charlotte Parker's disappearance remained a mystery. She was last seen near the manor, her bright smile captured in a photograph that now seemed to mock the darkness that followed. Her family searched tirelessly, but the manor's grip was unyielding and Charlotte was never found. Her story, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lie hidden beneath the surface of the world. The manor's halls, once filled with laughter and light, now only knew shadows and whispers. Each flickering light seemed to tell a tale of sorrow, of lives forever changed by the unseen forces that lurked within. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved. The ancient door with its rusted padlock stood as a barrier between the known and the unknown. Beyond it lay a path shrouded in fog, leading into a darkness that few dared to explore. Those who did often found themselves lost, forever wandering in the shadows of the past. Some places are best left undisturbed. The warning signs, old and weathered, served as a testament to the dangers that lay beyond. The estate, with its overgrown paths and eerie silence, seemed to whisper a warning to all who approached. Turn back, for here lies only sorrow and despair. Blackwood Manor stood as a silent sentinel, its haunting whispers a chilling testament to the power of the unknown. By moonlight, the manor took on an even more sinister appearance, its shadows dancing in the night. The cracked windows, with their tattered curtains, seemed to watch the world with a knowing gaze, as if the manor itself was alive, guarding its secrets with a malevolent intent. The stories of those who had vanished within its walls were a stark reminder of the dangers that lay in the pursuit of the unknown. Forever lost, their tales became part of the manor's dark legacy, a legacy that would continue to haunt the living for generations to come.